I mean, have you ever known like somebody with a legit psychosis?
Yeah.
They're psychologically dominant. I mean, no matter how put together you are, no matter how strong
That's
you
true.
are, if you spend enough time with someone who is clinically insane, you'll break. You'll break.
Oh yeah,
And it's that strong
that's very
because
true.
when you don't operate in reality, you can get your persuasions from all sorts of different sources.
Right.
And I do mean that in a metaphysical and spirit way as well. But anyway, continue on.
Yeah, let's keep going with Mark here.
So the movement now is to say there's no more distinctions. Women can be like men, men can be like women. And if men are no longer encouraged to act courageously and to take risks, to contain the feminine, which is the emotionality of the woman, and it's good, I'm not criticizing that. Women are more emotional than men. They need that in order to remain connected to their children and also to provide the emotional nourishment to their husbands. They provide an absolutely critical component of life and life force. Femininity is not less than masculinity, it is complementary. But if we tell women that's not what they have, they're not offering that anymore. They need to compete with men. Now what we have is we have essentially eunuchs, men with no balls, and then we have histrionics, women who have no emotional containment because there are no men to contain them anymore. They suffer from a lack of verbal restraint because men can't tell them, look, we better just tone this down a little bit, calm down, you're going to be fine, we're going to get back to this later.
So, and that belies the issue with just always going along to get along. Happy wife, happy life. Over time that your wife is neither happy and neither is your life because you slowly deballed yourself and you slowly submitted to whatever is asked of you, no matter whether it's reasonable or not, and that's not desirable.
But that speaks to the power of the unification between a man and a woman too.
Mm-hmm.
That if one is, then the other must also be. Robert says, nope, fuck her. Okay.
Because if you say that, you're a misogynist. You're attacking the woman's power. If we don't have those restraints on women from men, healthy, loving, assertive restraint, then women, and I said this for the long time in the last year, women are now out in the street running around Karens, as they say, turning people in for violating ridiculous, irrational rules. Like my friend who went to the zoo yesterday and he was tossing bananas at the chimpanzees and this woman comes up to him and starts yelling at him, turns him into the zookeeper and berates him in front of his children for being a bad father. You wouldn't have seen this 3 or 4 years ago, but you're seeing it now. And it's women who are doing this, not men. It's women. But the men are out there with their masks on, showing that they have no balls. And do you think that that makes women feel safe? I've talked to police officers, female police officers, who say, when I leave my house and I see men with tats and guns, and this is out in the woods, and I see them wearing a mask, this does not make me feel protected. This makes me feel scared. Because if they're afraid of this virus, if they're so scared that they're going to die from this Wu flu, what's going to happen when the bear comes out of the woods? What's going to happen when the rapist tries to attack me? What's going to happen when my children are going to be kidnapped by the man in the park? What are they going to do? With their mask on, say, please, please stop, please, please? They're not going to put their lives on the line. They won't even put their mouth on the line. So I think this is a huge problem, the attack on the masculine, the feminine, the male and the female. And we're turning men into cowards. We're turning women into histrionic control freaks, bitches. And I'm not attacking women. In fact, I think the women are really losing on this. There's more divorce, more loneliness, more sadness, depression in women than ever before. 40, 50-year-old women who are childless, unmarried, crying into their Haagen-Dazs every night because they missed out on a relationship, because they thought that their job was to go get that career and fight off that masculine patriarchy. And the men are all alone playing games and masturbating and using pot to palliate their own pain. It is disaster.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Who's this guy?
Throwing it down. Mark McDonald.
Mark McDonald. Good on you, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. I recommend that book. It's very it's just ideas that I didn't really think about. Like, surface level, I've been kind of noticing some things, but when he laid it out and with relevant examples to current times, and then I see this pattern playing out in so many instances of relationships I know, where I can tell what the guy thinks maybe a little bit more along the lines that I do, but is unwilling to whether to say it with his own relationship or say it publicly. And it's just like it's just interesting.
Well, he's too ugly to get canceled.
yeah, they don't need to, right?
Yeah. What's the name of the book?
The United States of Fear.
United States of Fear. Okay, you told me about that. This is the guy. Sweet.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Let's he has a solution though. I do think this is I mean, it's a start, at least. It's a starting point for how we can regain that male vitality, that Alex would say.
Well, what can we do?
What I tell people on a psychological level is you can act in spite of your fear. You can take a risk. You can show and display courage, particularly men. Men, more than anything right now, must show courage. They must put something on the line, their job, their relationship, their social status or position in their community, and fight for truth, fight for what's real. And you know what it is. Men know what it is. They just don't have the balls to put it out there. They need to fight. They need to stand up at a local level, wherever they happen to be anywhere in the world. That is absolutely paramount.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Drive that truck down to the Capitol and just honk away. That's a start,
That's the start. That's the start. I'm hearing this local. The battle for local is coming to all of us.
So now we're gonna have to, you can hope and flee to Florida or go to, Texas or any other place that you think is a better option. But one way or the other, it's gonna if you're in California, that's maybe a different story. But
that's more of a tax situation, I think, than culture.
Well, dude, they're talking about mandating it for like everybody. If you're an independent contractor, so obviously we'll see if that. But then again, there will be counties that will just be like, yeah, we're not enforcing that. We're not going to do that. I think they already have in California, no less. So. Again, it's one of those things where, you're probably right. It's more just the tax thing than like the unconstitutional laws, because you get the right sheriff in town, you can make some headwinds. And if you if you raise hell, look at San Francisco. They just overturned, like, how many people got voted out of the school board?
Right? Yeah.
Of all places. And because people took a chance and organized and pushed back, and the same thing with public health, or same thing with like the city council or anything like that, like you can make a difference. And even honestly, as trivial as it is, for me, it's not, but even just saying something on Facebook where you air it out to all the people in your life, where you're like, hey, you like and respect me, I assume, right? Here's an opinion that you may not like, but I think you might need to hear. And regardless of if you are offended or disapprove of this, I'm still going to say it because I know it's what needs to be said. And I also want to normalize this behavior for other people, because truly the only way that we can hope to revert some of this tyranny and this totalitarian mindset is to just start being more courageous in every situation we can that's practical and reasonable. Just to the 100th monkey thing, like, you start doing it, other people might maybe start following along. It's the only way that I can see forward from an individual perspective, at the very least. Speaking truth, like Mark said, it's a liberating feeling in and of itself, but it's also like these are the actual seeds of real change that have to happen. And taking a position on something, not because it's the socially acceptable thing to do, but because it's the right thing to do, regardless of if it is acceptable or not. So,
yeah, I agree.